Hello, this is John Schlimmer, Million Mile Amsoil dealer, and welcome to my Million Mile Chevy website. This is part 2 of the rest of the story. We left off back in August of 2000, where I had just driven my van 35,500 miles on my first oil change with Amsoil. And we were on the telephone talking to the technician there at Amsoil. And he told me that I needed to change my PCV valve because I had high nitrite levels in my oil. And then I asked, what about my oil? And what he told me caught me completely off guard. Matter of fact, it stunned me. And here's what he said. He said, your oil is good for another 10 to 15,000 miles. I said, are you telling me that I could have driven my oil that I just drove 35,500 miles on another 10 to 15,000 miles? I could have driven it 45 to 50,000 miles? He said, that's right. He said, just change the oil filter. After that, I never worried about my oil. Instead of driving 35,000 miles on an oil change, I dropped back to 25,000 miles on an oil change because I had a lot of idle time on the oil and I felt more comfortable just changing the oil at 25,000 miles. There was times where I would sit and wait for 2 or 3 days for a load, especially if I went a long distance like to Texas and try and get a load back towards the east. And I would sit there with the air conditioning running in the summertime to keep the van cool, and in the wintertime I would let the engine run to keep the van warm to heat the van inside. And there were many times I went over my oil change and never worried about it. And same with you. You put this Amsoil product in your engine and you go over 1,000 miles or so, you don't have to worry about it. You can make it home to the local dealer and have them change it for you, or if you like to change your oil yourself, you can change it when you get back home. I did not like to change my oil out on the road. I had heard too many horror stories at these quick lube places, so I always waited till I got back home. Okay, let's fast forward. Was it Sunday morning, November the 7th, 2004, at around 593,000 miles? I was heading towards Laredo, Texas for a delivery Monday morning. Just happened to look down and see my temperature gauge pegged at 260 degrees. I had no idea how long it had been pegged. Wasn't paying attention. I immediately shut the engine off, and fortunately I coasted to an exit ramp, got out, popped open the hood, and I could not believe what I was seeing and what I was hearing. My antifreeze was boiling and my engine was popping and cracking, and I thought to myself, you have just ruined this engine. I've not seen an engine get that hot without cracking a block or cracking a head. Well, after about 10 minutes, I finally figured out what had happened. My serpentine belt had dropped off, but I couldn't figure out why. And there is an idler pulley between the air conditioner and the alternator. That, I had never changed it. I didn't even know it was in there. Hello? And that thing froze up, the bearing froze up in it, and the bolt turned out and it fell off. And when that fell off, the serpentine belt came off. So I was towed into an auto parts store there in Texarkana, Arkansas. They did not have an idler pulley. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do here? Something said, put a shorter serpentine belt on. Worked like a charm. I put a shorter serpentine belt on, got into my van, said a prayer, started the engine, and I couldn't believe what I heard. The engine started up and ran as smooth could be. No knocking, no tapping. I get out, crawl underneath, and I'm looking for oil leaks or antifreeze leaks. Nothing, dry as a bone. I was amazed. So I added over a gallon of distilled water to my antifreeze because it had boiled out. And down the road I went, and the engine ran really good, no problems at all. With the exception at about 700,000 miles, I had to replace the valve seals And I'm figuring that when I overheated my engine, this is what I was told by a race car driver, a friend of mine. He said that when you overheated your engine, those valve seats got so hot that it hardened them. And so around 700,000 miles, I had the dealership replace the valve seats. So how long did the engine last? Well, we made it to 930,589 miles and a valve stuck in Jackson, Mississippi. I pulled into a dealership. They said that a valve was stuck, that they could pull the heads and do a valve job, but they was concerned about doing that by putting pressure on the lower engine. They said most likely you're going to start using a lot of oil. So they didn't recommend that. They recommended replacing the engine. Well, boy, after shedding a few tears and thinking, you know what, I have to have a reliable vehicle to get out on the highway here. On October the 4th in 2007, I pulled out of the dealership with a brand new 350 Chevy engine. It's in this van right now. Matter of fact, I have 300,000 miles on it. I contacted Amsoil that my engine was down here in Jackson, Mississippi, and they had it shipped up to their facility. Amsoil took the engine and had it tore down and spec'd. And you're going to see the pictures of the inside of this engine. And what they found out was the only thing that was wrong with that engine was a valve keeper had come off. And I could have put the valve keeper back in and headed down the road. At first, I was really ticked off about that. But then I got to thinking, you know what? We get to see this engine now. We get to see what Amsoil done to the inside of this engine for 930,000 miles, changing the oil every 25,000 miles. So I don't know of anybody that's ever documented a 25,000 mile oil change like I have for almost 1 million miles. Here's another remarkable story that's taking place is my 1 million mile transmission. I still have the original transmission in this Chevy van, 1.2 million miles on it. The only thing I've done to it is change the oil and filter every 150,000 miles. It's never been overhauled. It's never been touched. There's a fella in Wisconsin who drove his 91 Chevy pickup truck over 1 million miles, and he went through 5 transmissions in his 1 million mile journey. Estimated cost around $18,000 for 5 transmissions. And I still have the original transmission at 1.2 million miles. By now, I should have erased any doubt about the power of the Amsoil products to lubricate my engine and my transmission, because what I've experienced and what you're going to experience once you add the Amsoil products throughout your vehicle, it's going to make your vehicle almost immortal. Another nice benefit, whenever I switched my vehicle over to the Amsoil products, I picked up almost 1 mile per gallon, which was a $1,700 a year savings for me. And my oil changes went from 20 a year down to 4 a year. That was another $300 savings. So over my 9-year 1 million mile journey, my estimated savings was right around $18,000. And if you're a fleet owner, that is some serious savings that you're going to experience. Whenever you're ready to order the Amsoil products, if you look on the left menu of my website, there's a tab that says how to order Amsoil. Click that tab and it'll take you to another page of my website that gives you step-by-step directions on how to order. At the top of the page, there's a video that you can watch that shows you step-by-step how to choose the right Amsoil products for your vehicle and how to become a preferred customer or a dealer so you can purchase the products at wholesale and have them drop shipped right to your doorstep. If you go to the Amsoil website through my webpage and order products, you'll be linked directly to me, and you'll have access to me personally 24/7 and my 1 million miles of experience. If you go to the Amsoil website by just logging on to their web address, if you want to use my ID number 516778, that would also link you directly to me and my 1 million miles of experience. Recently, I made a very interesting discovery. While walking down the aisle in the auto parts store, I started picking up each quart of oil and looking on the back of the bottle. I was just checking to see how many miles you could go on an oil change. None of those oils said on the back of the bottle how many miles you could go on an oil change. Now, why would they do something like that? Your guess is good as mine, but I did come across two oils that were brave enough to put the mileage on the back of their quart bottle. Mobil 1 and Amsoil. Now here's my formula for a great oil. Mobil 1, a good synthetic oil, will take you up to 15,000 miles on an oil change. Amsoil, a great synthetic oil, will take you up to 25,000 miles on an oil change, and they have the 15,000 and the 25,000 mile oil filter to go with it. Game, set, match. When you put Amsoil products throughout your vehicle or equipment, it will make it almost immortal. Happy trails, and talk to you soon.